Hey, it's Adam here, and you're watching The Culture Hack, where we're talking about how to create engaged workspaces that unlock the potential of your teams and drive your business forward in ways you've never seen. So stay tuned. Hello, welcome to another episode of The Culture Hack. I'm Adam Kolozetti, and I'm super excited because we have Andrew Richard on with me today. He's the co-founder of Automated Rig Technologies, and he's got a very cool story that he's going to share with us. So Andrew, thank you so much for coming. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me, Adam. Awesome to be here.
So first and foremost, we want to hear a little bit about your story and Automated Rig and what you guys do. So kind of bring us up to speed.
Yeah, for sure. So we're a company that works in the land-based drilling or well servicing industries. Typically, founded 2009, 2010 kind of timeline. With an extreme focus on tubular handling in and out of wells. So everything from the ground up into whatever machine is going to handle that tubing and run it down to the ground. And basically, our company has groups of, so we've got electrical, hydraulic, mechanical, and software engineering all under one roof. Theoretical roof. We're split up between Calgary, our Calgary office, and our Edmonton operations facility, where we service clients worldwide. So Automated Rig is we've got clients all over North America, South America, and the Middle East, and on West and in East Africa, and Australia. I guess I can't leave that out. So, and primarily the big story or good news story that we've been working for the last 8 years on a technology that reduces for the well completion space that replaces existing equipment. It's a new tool for snubbers, for coiled tubing operators, and workover operators to in the well completion space.
Gotcha. Okay. So there's some major innovation happening. I mean, 8 years on working on this project, and sounds like you're starting to see some real growth and results in the industry with it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not common. Well, there's two things. We've got two technologies. We've got a smaller rig assist unit, and then we've got a larger standalone unit. And I know, Adam, that doesn't make a lot of sense to you, and maybe not knowing all the ins and outs of a well and a completion. But essentially, what happens after a drilling rig has done its job on a well, so it's drilled the hole and it's left, and basically what it does is it leaves a cemented in steel tube from surface all the way to the bottom, but it's plugged. There's no oil or gas coming out of it. And then what's required is, that's where you hear about fracturing wells, hydraulic fracturing wells. So they will go in and they'll perforate the casing. So they'll blast holes in it, they'll fracture, and then they'll put a plug. And then they'll do, there's several methods of completing a well, but most prominent in the US right now is plug and perf. And they'll do that they'll have multiple sections of the well. And what happens with the incumbent equipment right now is it's either done by coiled tubing, what's called coiled tubing, which is a continuous tube that goes into the ground, but it's limited on mobility and its distance because it can't rotate and it's only a certain diameter. So there's an old piece of equipment coming to the market, or that's in the market, that is answering the call of the market to respond, but it's incredibly manual. It's called a snubbing jack. And so if you and I are standing on a snubbing jack, we're standing 40, 50 feet in the air in the weather, and we have got this plate that can lift 300,000 pounds, let's say, in between you and I, and there's two other guys up on that work platform that's 10 by 10 or something, right? So it's quite small. There's a lot of moving equipment and rotating, so it's dangerous. Can be dangerous, highly trained, highly manual location. And our new technology can remove those personnel from that basket from 40, 50 feet in the air, put them 100 feet away into a control cab, and it reduces their human input by over 94%. So it increases the safety dramatically of the process.
Amazing. Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
anytime you can automate something instead of putting someone 40 feet in the air or in the rain, that sounds amazing. But
Yeah, absolutely.
you guys have been working on this a long time, and you've had a team with you, and it's been, there's been some recessionary valleys in there, and it's not always been good times. So,
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about engagement of your team. And, when I say the word engagement, what does that mean to you?
Oh, I've got a good example of that actually. Um, you're right about the peaks and valleys in the industry, and because of that, in our past, and not to say it's never going to happen in the future again, but because you have to respond to the market. We've gone through those dips, and of course, driven by the market, not by our own mismanagement or something. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
and so recently, I want to say beginning of this year, actually backing up, our mindset has been not to just pile a whole bunch of people in the company when a bunch of work comes in, right? It's to responsibly look at the work that we've got going on, and we would prefer to have a couple extra hours of overtime for the team rather than add 2 or 3 guys that at the end of the job then we would have to let go, right? So at the beginning of this year, we were a little bit slow, and maybe going into the fall, just before Christmas or into the beginning of this year, we were a bit slow. And one of our lead hand welder in our shop in Edmonton reached out to me. So over Teams and sent me a message, and he's like, Andrew, it's looking pretty slow in here. And I'm a tradesman. I'm an electrician by trade. So I know what that really meant, right? Like, it's things are slow in the shop. Are we going to be around? Are there layoffs coming? All that sort of stuff. And I immediately hopped in my car. It would have been January. So because we had hired a new sales guy, I dragged my new sales guy up to Edmonton. We sat down with the shop personnel at the time for the 7 a.m. safety meeting, and I said, Justin here sent me a message. I know that conversation's going right across the team here. Yes, it's slow, but organize yourselves. Make sure that everything's ready to go, because it's going to get busy. We know It's getting busy. You're all safe. Everybody's staying. We're not letting anyone go for any of those types of reasons. So I would say we have a fairly open culture here. Make sure that everybody, if anybody has any issues, they can reach out to me or to any of the other leaders in the company, and get a response, right? When we don't sugarcoat anything. So that was probably, I think, first story that came to mind.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate that. I think too often business owners will sugarcoat the truth because they're worried about the negative reaction, and I think we underestimate people's ability to take news and respect that honesty and turn it constructive and be like, okay, that sucks, but thanks for sharing. What can I do to help? Right? And that's there's a lot of fear associated with that as an owner to stand up there and say that, right? It's a pretty vulnerable spot to be like, sorry guys, I'm trying, but you know. So that's a great story. We talk about challenges. I mean, obviously the ups and downs in industry are one of them, but sometimes when times are good, things get super busy, right? And all of a sudden we're all running in sort of a lot of directions. Do you have any stories or thoughts that come to mind about when times are good that you're kind of like, hey guys, let's take a second, maybe celebrate, or where you're engaging your team?
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't done any town halls per se, but we've had, and I've been sort of in that president role maybe now for just under 2 years, I would say, I think. But I've had a lot of group discussions with, the shop team or the front office staff in Edmonton or the Calgary team. Every couple months we'll do that. But I am running a town hall in a couple of weeks, specifically for what you talked about, that celebration. Out of this technology that we've just launched and commercialized, we've had the first. It's a bit weird in the oil field. Okay, so typically what happens, or maybe in all business, typically you take a new piece of equipment that you've developed and you send it to the field, or you send it to your client, and the first thing your client does is hire a welder and a machine. They hack the thing apart, they rebuild it, and they put it the way they want it, or we delivered this new piece of equipment on a Monday. It was on a well on Thursday and worked flawlessly. And it's since done 10 successful jobs. And there's been some rig up things and small things, but that was all our team understanding and working with the client and doing the right thing for the client, knowing that it was going to lead to success for not only ourselves but our client as well, and making sure that there was open communication through that whole thing. So back to the celebration part. Historically, we've been pretty horrible at celebrating. Over the last 14, 15 years, like, it's just been like, okay, great, let's grab a lunch. But we're trying to start to formalize that and celebrate the people that have been on the team that really have contributed to the success of clients.
I love that. Sounds like you've got some cool plans. Speaking of the future, as you look ahead, I mean, we were talking earlier and you were telling me you've had some pretty exciting last 6 to 12 months, and things are looking like they're going to see some growth. You talked about town halls. Do you have other plans in your head over the next year of how to kind of handle that growth and keep the team like super excited to be there?
This is exactly I was speaking with I have a group of mentors that I speak with every month or 6 weeks or so. And this was exactly what we were talking about yesterday, was maintaining that momentum and that excitement. And so it's something that I'm working on in that. It's something that we're going to be putting on the focal point here for the next little while.
Well, I love that you're thinking about it. It's obviously very important to you, and I'm sure that whatever you guys end up doing, it'll be pretty cool, because I can just feel the energy coming from you, and I suspect your team kind of resembles that similar energy. So that's pretty neat. Thanks so much for coming on the show, Andrew. Really appreciate your insights, and hopefully people have pulled some gems from your stories and can relate to that and apply it in their own world. So really appreciate it.
Awesome, Adam. Thanks a lot for having me.
Hey, thanks for watching The Culture Hack. Do you want to chat culture and engagement? Give us a call and come on the show.